You said it. Just like that. The sentence you'd been circling for weeks, rewriting in your head at 2 in the morning, finally came out clean. No bracing for impact, no rehearsal. If something like that happened to you in the last day or two, you didn't imagine it, and you're not the only one it's happening to. Here's what's actually going on, and I promise this isn't going to be one of those vague "the universe is shifting" videos with nothing underneath it. There's a real specific reason this week feels different, and it has almost nothing to do with luck. For the last several weeks, Venus has been sitting in Virgo, and Virgo is not Venus's comfortable room. It's the room where she gets handed a clipboard. Everything gets inspected. Every sentence gets edited before it's allowed to leave your mouth. If you've been over-explaining yourself, second-guessing a text before you send it, or holding a compliment back because it felt too exposed to say plainly, that's been the weather system you were living under. Not a flaw in you, not a personality problem to fix, a phase in the sky, nothing more, nothing less. That phase is closing now. Venus is stepping out of Virgo and crossing into Libra. And Libra is not a room she's visiting, it's the room she owns. Astrologers call this her domicile, which is a fancy way of saying this is home. When a planet reaches its own sign, it stops working so hard to be understood. It just is what it is, and the space around it rearranges to fit. Picture walking back into a house after months of renovation. The tarps come down. The furniture goes back where it always should have been. A door that's been sticking for a year suddenly swings on its hinge like it was never a problem at all. That's the shift you're standing in the middle of right now, even if nobody's pointed it out to you yet. It's worth being specific about what the Virgo phase actually asked of you, because most people lived it without naming it. Virgo doesn't want your feelings loud. It wants them useful, edited, justified, before they're allowed out. So you probably found yourself building a case before you said anything real, lining up reasons, softening the delivery 3 drafts deep, making sure you couldn't be accused of overreacting. That's exhausting work, and it's the kind of exhausting that doesn't look like exhaustion from the outside, because you are still showing up, still functioning, just running every word through an inspection line first. That inspection line just got decommissioned. You don't need the case file anymore. Here's the part worth sitting with. Venus doesn't just rule romance. She rules the whole architecture of how you connect, the tone you choose, the timing of a hard conversation, whether you say the honest thing or the safe thing. When she's cramped into an exacting sign like Virgo, honesty tends to come out sharp, or it doesn't come out at all. You swallow it. You wait for a better moment that never quite arrives, but home turf changes the acoustics. Words that would have landed wrong 2 weeks ago suddenly have room to land soft. That's not a coincidence, and it's not luck. It's structural. The blueprint of the conversation actually changed. So look at what's been sitting in your throat. The apology you've been drafting and deleting. The boundary you've rehearsed 100 times but never said out loud. The "I miss you," or the "I was wrong," or the "can we start over," that felt too heavy to lift last month. This week, that sentence weighs less. Not because the stakes got smaller, because the room got kinder. You're not being asked to say something you weren't ready for. You're finally in a house where saying it doesn't cost what it used to. Now, a small honest note, because I'm not going to hand you a fantasy and call it astrology. Right as Venus settles into Libra, she forms an awkward angle to Chiron, the point in the chart tied to our oldest, most tender wounds. It's not a hard aspect. It's the kind that just nudges a door that's already ajar. what that can look like, right as things start to soften. An old ache about being let down, or dismissed, or not really heard, might surface for a second. That's not the sky sabotaging your good week. It's more like walking through a newly opened room and brushing your hand against a wall you used to avoid. You notice it because you can finally get close enough to touch it. Let it be information, not a warning sign. It's simply telling you which door still needs a gentler hand, and which one you can walk through at full speed without flinching. This is where the architecture metaphor earns its keep, because a house isn't just its front room. Somewhere in yours, there's a door you've kept shut on purpose, maybe to a friendship that went quiet, a family conversation you've been avoiding, a version of yourself you stopped showing people because it felt like too much. You don't have to force that door open this week. You just might notice walking past it that it isn't locked anymore. That's the difference between demanding a transformation and simply being handed better lighting to see the whole floor plan by. What tends to shift, practically, over these few days? Conversations that felt impossible start feeling merely uncomfortable, which is a real upgrade. People read your tone more generously because you're not compensating for a sign that made you brace before you spoke. Small gestures, reaching out first, saying thank you without qualifying it, telling someone plainly that you like them, cost less energy than they did in July. None of this requires you to become a different person. It requires you to notice that the room already changed shape around the person you already are. And it isn't only romance living in this house, even though romance usually gets top billing when Venus moves. This same ease touches how you present your work, your home, your own reflection. If you've been putting off sharing something you made because it didn't feel finished enough, the bar for ready quietly drops this week. Not because your standards slipped, but because the anxious over-polishing that came with Virgo has eased off. A room you'd been meaning to rearrange might finally get rearranged in an afternoon instead of staying a someday project. Money conversations, the ones about what something is actually worth, tend to go more smoothly too, because Libra negotiates by instinct in a way Virgo has to labor toward. Look around the different rooms of your life this week, not just the one with the person you're thinking of first. If you want somewhere to actually use this, don't aim it at the biggest, scariest conversation you're avoiding. Aim it at something small and specific. One sentence you've been holding back from one particular person. Say the smaller true thing this week. Not because the timing is magic and guaranteed, but because the resistance that made it feel so heavy has genuinely, measurably eased, and it would be a shame to let that pass unused. And here's the part that's yours, not the sky's. A homecoming doesn't do the walking for you. Venus can open the door, soften the lighting, take the friction out of the hinges. But you're still the one who has to cross the threshold and say the actual words. That choice was always yours, and it still is. The sky just made the room a little easier to stand in while you make it. If this is already matching something happening in your week, a conversation that finally moved, a message you sent without editing it 4 times, a moment that felt lighter than you expected, tell me about it below. I read every one, and I'd genuinely like to know which door opened for you first. One more thing worth naming before we close. A homecoming this real doesn't ask you to fix everything in the house at once. You're allowed to walk past 3 closed doors and only open the one you're actually ready for. Ease isn't the same as pressure. Nobody's timer just started. If all that shifts for you this week is one honest sentence to one person who's been waiting to hear it, that's not the small version of this transit. That's the whole point of it, lived at a completely human scale. You don't need a sign to say the true thing. You've just been handed a kinder room to say it in, with the lighting better and the hinges finally quiet. What you do with that room, which doors you open and in what order, is still and always your call. The house is home again. The rest is up to you.